Greetings audience, I'm Boomstick, and this is the Nova from Dr. Flux.
Ooh. Hey, bud. Yeah, got it! Hit! I can fire your hit! Hit! Right there, hit! Hit! I know you're hit, man. Woo! Woohoo! Oh, hit! Medic!
Special thank you to all my lovely patrons, especially Nerf Nothing for being an amazing pro patron. The Nova is a compact 3D printed semi-auto flywheel blaster that takes Talon mags. The Nova is unique because it is a 3D printed blaster that utilizes a clamshell design, meaning that you end up with two halves of the blasters, and these also happen to have interchangeable side plates. And you can actually pick up your own Nova from Xbox Games over on their Etsy. And of course, I will have links to all of that down below in the description. Now, before we get too far into the review, I will say that this is a pre-production model that I bought from Dr. Flux. So there are a few issues with this specific model that I have, which I will address later, but it does not affect the current model, which is now available. I will say what I do love about the Nova is the fact that it is this nice little compact platform. When I was first looking at the Nova, my thought in my head was this is a Jupiter that fires darts, because it has a very similar profile to the Jupiter from Out of Darts. I will also say that this aggressive angle to the grip, I was not expecting to find comfortable. However, I was pleasantly surprised. When I was out using this on the field, I found that this angle was kind of perfect for being able to maneuver around, especially just maneuvering your wrist around for everything, as opposed to a more straight grip. This just surprisingly felt really comfortable. One thing that did take me a little bit of getting used to was the mag release, because my instinct is usually to push with my rev trigger, and unfortunately that does not work with this. This is a pull-only mag release. I do like that even though you do have the motors on one side and flywheels on the other, they still made the blaster symmetrical. So while it is a little weird with these humps on both sides, I prefer having it on both sides as opposed to just on one. Now I will say that that is a feature of my version. I do believe that the newer versions have a more pleasing shape aesthetic to them. Another complaint of the pre-production model, which I've been told has been fixed, is the battery door. I cannot get any of my lipos to actually fit inside the Nova through this battery door. I have to take off the entire side plate in order to get a lipo on the inside. So that is rather annoying and has led me to losing several M3 screws that I've had to replace. The Nova does also feature a neat little sling point there. However, I'm not a huge fan, and I don't really trust this sling point because the flex you have in there, and I'm not a fan of that, and I don't trust it to not break on me. Again, I think this is an issue with my specific one. Hopefully the future ones don't have this specific issue. Out on the field, though, I found this to be very effective. Being able to maneuver around cover easily and take those shots that I needed in order to tag players out, it was quite fun. I also do really enjoy the fact that you have this nice big top rail along the top, allowing me to mount many different options up there. I did have one other minor issue, and I do think I know the cause of it, and that's where I'll be firing and then the darts won't quite feed up all the way. I think there might be a little too much pressure on the side of the mags, and that might also be an issue of maybe my mag springs are a little bit weaker just due to them being old. But that did have an issue where every now and again it wouldn't fire, so I have to give it a little tap, and then it would be back to firing again. I will say that it actually does have a bit of a flared base, or at least rounded edges, allowing you to more easily get your mag into the kind of small mag well, but I do find it fairly easy to reload mags on the fly. Now, one of the big complaints that people had of the Nova when it first came out was the price. It was originally being priced at $250, which for a 3D printed Strife is what people were saying that seemed excessive. And I understand their complaints. I also understand Flux having to price his time appropriately. So I didn't have an issue with his price being the fact that that's how he was valuing his time. But he did listen, and he was able to license the building of Novas over to Xbox Games, who is now offering them at $120, which, in my opinion, is a great price. $120 for a Nova, that's very comparable back to what the Lightning Bug was, which I actually don't even think you can get right now. But $120 for a nice, compact flywheel blaster, I honestly think that's a pretty good price. Now, you do have to weigh that against whether or not you want to have something 3D printed versus some of the other off-the-shelf or name brand products that are out there. That you'll have to decide for yourself. But as somebody who loves 3D printed blasters and likes to be able to support creators in the hobby, I thoroughly enjoyed the Nova. With this being such a compact flywheeler, I think it really does lend itself well to players moving in and around cover, trying to take those quick shots, and you're not dumping an entire mag because you have that nice semi-auto feature. But I think that sums up my thoughts of testing it and whatnot. Let's go ahead and bring in our ranking. Now, for the Nova, for 150 FPS blaster, we're going to put it right there. I do think it's got a few quirks, a few issues, most of which have been, from what I understand, fixed in the current iteration, as opposed to my pre-production model. I do think it's worth picking one up, especially if you like this compact shape, or if you like the shell design. I think it is worth it. But let me know what you all think down in the comments, and as always, give the video a like, and hey, hit the subscribe button so you can see more content from me coming real soon. But I think that's all for this one, so until next time, I've been Boomstick, and I'll see you on the field.